Okay, continuing with chapter number 16, development of organism and continuity of life. We were looking at sexual reproduction in plants, and in today's lesson we will see what fertilization is, how it happens in the plants, and what are the post-fertilization changes that takes place in a flower. Let's see fertilization and post-fertilization changes in a nutshell. What happens is that fertilization involves the fusion of male and female gamete. In our previous lessons, we have read that the anthers produce pollens. Pollens contain male gametes, while the ovary, which is the part of the female reproductive organ, contains the ovules. Ovules contains the female gametes. So fertilization is the fusion of male and female gamete, giving rise to a single cell called zygote. A structure of pollen grain is very important to look while studying the process of fertilization. Here you can see the structure of a mature pollen grain which contains two nucleuses. One is called vegetative nucleus, the other one is called generative nucleus. The function of vegetative nucleus is to form the pollen tube, while that of generative nucleus is to undergo division. This generative nucleus will now generate two male gametes, while vegetative nucleus is responsible for the formation of this pollen tube. This pollen tube becomes mature or starts to grow as soon as the pollen grain falls on the stigma. So here in this diagram, you can see that the stigma has received many pollen grains. Remember that pollen grain, while landing on the stigma, starts to generate in response to a sugary fluid which is secreted by the mature stigma. Each pollen grain will start to produce a tube, which is called a pollen tube. Here in the animation, I have tried to show you the same thing, where a pollen tube is generated from a single pollen coming all the way from the stigma to style and then entering into the ovary and going inside the ovule, which is containing the female gametes. So this is the fertilization process where the male gametes reaches the female gametes, fuse together and to form a zygote. But it is not that simple. We have to see different processes or different structures which are present in the ovule and also in the pollen tube. Like I told you in our previous slide, that the generative nucleus will undergo division and will form two male gametes, while in the ovary also it contains two female gametes. One is called the egg or the ovum, while the other one would be called as definitive nucleus or polar bodies. So one male gamete from the pollen tube coming into the ovary coming into the ovule will fuse with one female gamete, while the other male gamete will fuse with the second female gamete in the ovule. Here in the diagram also, I have tried to show you the structure where the stigma will receive the mature pollen grain. This pollen grain will start to generate in response to the sugary fluid or the secretion which is produced by the stigma. The pollen will start to generate this pollen tube, which will also release some digestive enzymes which will digest the tissue of the style and will keep going inward all the way from the style into the ovary. Here you can see that the pollen tube is entering into the embryo sac through a hole which is called micropyle. If you can see that the ovule is surrounded by a number of layers of cells, these cells layer is called integument. It can be divided into inner and outer integuments. Herein you can see that the ovule contains two female gametes. One is called the definitive nucleus. Somewhere in some books it is mentioned as polar bodies, while the other female gamete is called as ovum or egg. Here in the pollen tube you can see two small dots which are shaded. These are representing two male gametes. Remember, the function of vegetative nucleus was to just form the pollen tube. So once the pollen tube is fully generated or fully produced, this vegetative nucleus will soon disintegrate. Now only the generative nucleus will be left behind, which will go under division and will form two male gametes. So now we have two male gametes coming in and two female gametes which are present in the ovule. So what happens is that one male gamete will fuse with the ovum or egg, giving rise to a single cell called zygote, while the other male gamete will fuse with the definitive nucleus or polar bodies to form a tissue called endosperm. Endosperm is a tissue containing starch. It will be provided as a nutrition for the growing zygote, which will undergo multiple times undergo mitosis and will form a baby plant called embryo. So here the structure is very important. The formation of pollen tube is very important because it is the process which ensures that the male gamete reaches the female gamete inside the ovary in the ovule, which where they are lying. Fusion will take place. This is called double fertilization, since one male gamete fuses with one female gamete and the other male gamete fuses with the other female gamete. Here in the theory as well, I have tried to make you understand that the cytoplasm and the two nuclei, vegetative and generative nuclei, would pass into the pollen tube. Vegetative nucleus controls the growth of the pollen tube, while generative nucleus divides to form two male gametes that travel down the tube. Vegetative nucleus, once the pollen tube is fully formed, will soon disintegrate or will soon be finished. The tube also releases enzymes which digest the style tissue so that it can penetrate through the style and grow downwards towards the ovary where the female gametes are lying in the ovule. The tube enters the ovule or enter the embryo sac via the micropyle, which is a hole, and reaches the embryo sac within the ovule. Once inside, the tip of the tube will burst and will release the two male gametes. One male gamete, as I told you, will fuse with one female gamete to give rise to zygote, while the other one will be fused with the definitive nucleus to form endosperm. Endosperm is a tissue which would contain starch. So since the fusion is taking place twice, this will be called as double fertilization. Here in this diagram also, I have tried to show you the same things. Pollen grains are landing on the stigma, going all the way from the style to the embryo sac in the ovary, going into the ovule to fuse with the, to let the male gametes fuse with the female gametes. This entrance of the pollen tube is through this hole called micropyle. Again, post-fertilization changes are very important to know. If you can see here that first process was pollination, where we read about cross and self-pollination. We also saw about insect and wind pollination. We saw the characters of wind pollinated and insect pollinated flowers, and we also saw the features and characters which favor self-pollination and cross-pollination. Once the pollination is done, the pollen has landed on the stigma. The process of fertilization will start to take place, first being the landing of the pollen onto the stigma, and then the generation of the pollen tube going into the ovary, into the ovule, where the female gametes are lying. After fertilization, the structure won't be remaining the same. It will undergo different changes, leading to modification in the structure. You see in the post-fertilization diagram, I have not shown you the stigma because it will wither off once the pollination is being done. So after fertilization, what happens is that the ovary would become fruit while ovule would become the seed. The ovary wall will become pericarp or fruit wall, while the integuments will become the seed coat. Integuments were the layers of the cells that were surrounding the ovule, which have become seed now. So the covering of the seed, the integuments pre-fertilization, will be modified into a newer structure that is called seed coat or testa. Here in the table as well, I've tried to summarize the post fertilization changes, the sterile parts which were not involved directly into the reproduction will wither off mostly, but may persist in the fruit dispersal process. We will read about fruit dispersal in our coming lectures, where you will see that in some plants the sepal modify to help in fruit dispersal. Otherwise, most of the times the sepals and the petals will wither off after fertilization. Stamens too can wither off. What about carpels? Stigma and style may wither off or may persist and help in fruit dispersal. Ovary, like I told you in the previous slide, will be turned to fruit. Ovary wall will be changed to the pericarp. Ovule will become seed. Ovule wall or integuments will be changed to seed coat, or it is also called testa. Micropyle will remain micropyle, while endosperm tissue or endosperm nucleus will sometimes completely absorbed or consumed by the young embryo to get into a adult plant to absorb that nutrients. The endosperm nucleus is completely taken up by the growing embryo. In this animation, I've tried to summarize the process. The mature pollen landed here. It started to form tube, the pollen tube, which contained the generative nucleus. The generative nucleus started to form two cells which fused separately with the female gametes, one forming the endosperm and the other is forming the zygote. This is the post-fertilization changes, where you can see that how the ovary turning into fruit and ovules turning into seed. The process is again repeated here. Generative nucleus coming all the way into the ovules, the sperm cells or the male gametes fusing with the female gametes, giving rise to zygote. This ovule is turned to seed, while the ovary has developed into a fruit after fertilization.